Hey there guys, this is Sam
and Justin
at the Survival Review, and today we are going to be talking about episode 14 of The Return to Twin Peaks.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
This was wonderful.
Yeah. That was insane.
It was possibly, it's hard to say, but it's possibly the best episode of the season so far.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if we want to mention episode 8, because that's so separate from, like, the entire show.
It's a completely different tone from everything else.
Yeah.
That's quite literally in its own dimension.
Yeah.
You can't really compare it.
But out of the regular episodes of the show, this is probably the best one of the season.
Yeah. I mean,
so far.
What the hell?
Oh my god.
Where to start?
This is probably the first episode where every scene was really important. Like, I'm not saying the random scenes in the earlier episodes were pointless and won't go anywhere, because they probably will. But this is the first time where every scene you could tell what it was leading to, and you could tell the reason for it in every scene, and it was just amazing.
And it kept you just like enthralled the whole time, because you're like, every new scene is something where you're like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my god, this new thing. And there's actual exposition where you're learning a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
when it got to the last scene in the Roadhouse and you see the band playing, I was like, is it over? Like, this episode went by so fast. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if we still had like 10 more minutes of stuff.
but no, it was over.
It was, and I was like, wow.
It went by, like, it felt like a 20-minute episode.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Yeah. So to start off the episode, we have a great scene with Cole calling up to talk to Frank Truman. Well, he thinks Harry Truman. But, you know, we have that whole thing like every other episode.
Yeah.
Oh, he's sick?
Yep, he's in the hospital.
That's a shame. Whatever. That doesn't bother me as much anymore because I see it coming.
Yeah.
But he has this great little scene with Lucy, and he's like, Lucy, you're still there after all these years?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, sometimes I go home, and I've been on some vacations. It's so funny.
And the best part is, you can tell that Cole didn't understand a word she said.
He doesn't get a word out of it because he just pauses and he's silent.
His eyes are going back and forth. It's just like, Lucy just goes, you want to talk to Truman? He goes, yes,
right now.
Yeah.
And he's like, Harry, is that you? No, it's Frank. Oh,
yeah.
That's weird. Let's skip that.
Yeah.
So basically, he's returning a call that Frank called Gordon about.
And Frank just basically wants to know that they've been investigating some stuff, and they found these pages from Laura Palmer's diary that talk about the possibilities of 2 Coopers.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I just wanted to let you know that, just thought it'd be interesting. And they hang up, and Cole's just like, yeah, this is kind of a big deal.
This is huge.
Yes. After that, you see Rosenfield and Tammy are just in like the hotel room with like computers behind them and stuff. It was really weird looking.
It's a strange looking place, but it's cool.
And he starts talking to him about the first ever Blue Rose case. Yeah. And this stuff was really interesting.
This is where I was like, oh my god, we're getting some seriously big information.
Yeah, this is just like adding so much to the mythology. It's just so great. And basically he's talking about this case where these 2 like officers went into this room after they hear like this like distress and all that stuff. And he saw this lady dead on the ground, and the other lady in the room was that same exact lady. Yeah. And they arrested her for murder, but before they can charge her in anything, she hung herself.
Yes.
And those 2 officers that were there that day were Cole and Philip Jeffries.
Yes. And right when we heard that, we're like, oh my god!
Yeah!
This is insane. So now, Gordon Cole knows that there are 2 Coopers. And
he has experience with doppelgangers, of course, by that story he told. So Cole walks in and lets him know about the phone call with Truman and the whole thing with the 2 Coopers. And then after that, he just like sits down and goes, man, I had another Monica Bellucci dream last night.
Yeah, I had another Monica Bellucci dream. Because at some point he's told them, God, I keep having these Monica Bellucci dreams or something.
Apparently.
Who knows?
But the crazy thing is, we knew that Monica Bellucci was going to be in the show. We heard her.
We saw she was on the cast list, and we're like, oh, every once in a while I would think, oh, I wonder when she's going to come to play. She's herself in Gordon Cole's dreams.
Yeah.
And her purpose is so bizarre because it's like, in most, movies or shows where they have, it's a flashback dream. He's remembering something, and it's a scene from Fire Walk with Me when Philip Jeffries comes in.
Yeah.
But most shows would be like, oh, we'll just have him remember that in a dream.
Yeah.
No, he is like, oh, I had a nice coffee in Paris with
Yeah.
Monica Bellucci.
Yeah,
she
'cause-
looked past me.
Because the dream starts off. He's in Paris. He meets up with Monica Bellucci. They sit down. They have a cup of coffee.
She had guests.
Yes, yes.
And she says, we are like the dreamer who dreams and lives inside the dream. And then she pauses and says, but who is the dreamer?
And also in the dream, he sees Cooper, but he doesn't see his face. He sees like his body.
Yeah, it's just his body and maybe like his chin.
Yeah.
But
then after that quote, Monica Bellucci like looks behind Cole, like acknowledging that he needs to look behind. And so
there's some shit going down behind you, Cole.
Yeah.
And he looks, and it's Firewalk with me.
yeah, but he looks and he sees his younger self.
Yes. In his office, and
We see Cooper, and Cooper telling him about this weird dream he had. And it's like, hey, first time we've really seen Cooper this entire season, technically.
There you go.
And he tells him about this dream he had, and then Philip Jeffries comes in.
Yes.
And basically, Cole explains that he has had no memory of this for the past 25 years. And so he just finally remembers it now. And then Rosenfield says, yeah, I'm starting to remember that too.
They were all in that scene together, so it's cool that they bring that back.
Yeah.
And it's cool to actually see David Bowie in the
Yeah.
scene.
So we kind of got an appearance by him in a way.
And the episode is in memory of David Bowie, which is nice.
Yeah, I like that.
I appreciate that. And basically, that's like the start of the episode.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, we're like, oh my god, we've got more information in the first 2 minutes of this episode than like half the other episodes combined.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Great.
And the episode doesn't slow down.
No, because what happens, like, right after that, in the same exact scene, Diane shows up and sits down, and they ask her, like, that last night you saw Cooper, did he ever mention a Major Briggs? And she ends up, first she's like, I don't want to talk about that night. And Cole's like, I know, but did he mention him? And Diane goes, yes, he did. Which is like, ooh, great. And then Rosenfield goes, Major Briggs we thought died 25 years ago in a fire in the facility he was in, but apparently he just died like 2 days ago. And inside his body, we found this ring that says, to Dougie from Janie E. And that makes Diane stop.
Yeah. And she's like, well, shit.
And there's like, a connection to that, what that could be? And then she drops the bombshell.
Yes. She explains, well, I have a half-sister who is named Jane. We call her Janie E. And she's married to a man named Douglas, who everyone calls Dougie.
Holy shit.
What? So she is related. Now this brought up one question for me. If she knows Janie and she knows Dougie, did she never question that Dougie looks exactly like Cooper? That's one tiny little thing.
That's what I was thinking too when I saw that. I'm like, yeah, he looks just like Cooper.
But maybe she never met him. She wasn't close with her sister. Maybe she just heard people call him that. I could give a shit. That was cool.
Yeah, that was insane.
It's really. I want to see what happens now.
Yeah, like I want to see like everything is converging now. Like you had Cole call up Twin Peaks, and now they're connecting to Janie E and Dougie. Like,
and now they call up Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Two weird characters who knows if we'll see them again, but they were funny.
The first one goes, Agent Cole's on the line. Agent Cole, and he just picks up the phone real quick.
Yeah, and Cole immediately yells in his ear, and they're both like, Jesus. But he is told by Cole to go and find this Douglas Jones.
Yeah. They hang up the phone, and he tells the guy, there's like a ton of Douglas Jones in this area. And then for some reason, one guy just bursts out like, we're going to find him. This is what the FBI does.
Find him. This is what we do. And we're just like, oh.
And it just cuts to another scene. We're just like,
great.
I love it.
Like so much characterization of that guy and just what he's like in 2 seconds.
It's great.
It's wonderful.
Oh, I loved it. Then we move on to Twin Peaks.
Yes.
Where shit gets even more nuts.
That's being light about it.
So we see inside the conference room in the Twin Peaks police station, and everybody's kind of gathering in there. Bobby walks in with sandwiches. You're just like roast beef and cheese, ham and cheese, and the last one just cheese.
Who would get just cheese? And Andy's like, me. Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
So they all converge in there. Truman shows up in there, and then Chad walks in, and they all of a sudden go, "You're under arrest," and they arrest him.
Like out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Like, oh, okay. I guess they know that he's a scumbag.
Yeah.
So they throw him into a cell. And
Yeah. But it's like we missed an entire like subplot of them finding this out. Like whatever.
Who cares? He's taken care of.
Yeah.
So,
Good. So then we cut to them out in the forest, and they're going to the spot that Major Briggs mentioned in that paper that they found. And so they're going through the woods, just going there, and they find the point, a place that like Bobby his dad would always take him when he was a kid and stuff. And then they go however many meters, whatever, like in north that says in the directions.
And they put some soil in their pockets.
And they get to there, and okay, where do we start?
Well, first off, they see a body.
Yes.
And it's
the No Eyes Lady from episode 3.
Woman. Yeah. First time we're seeing her again.
Yeah, we're like, what?
Didn't expect to see her in the real world.
No.
So first there's that.
Yeah.
Then they start to see a vortex opening, like the one that
Cole saw in like a couple episodes back.
Yeah.
So the vortex is forming. It's getting like bigger and closer to them.
Bigger and bigger.
And they're just standing there staring at it.
Andy is holding the hand of the woman.
Yeah.
And poof, he disappears.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that Andy was the key to everything.
Yes. Because he appears in that black and white area that we saw in the first scene of the first episode when you saw Cooper talking to the giant. But now it's Andy.
Andy, of all people. The giant goes, I am the fireman.
Yeah.
Holds up his hand. And then Andy...
He looks up.
Yeah.
And it's like this window.
He sees the thing from the box from the very first episode.
Yeah.
That thing that appeared for a fraction of a second or whatever it was. That's coming back, I guess?
Yeah, it's going to come back. It's all going to tie together.
Everything's wrapping up in a tight little bow.
I know, it's so nice. It's so crazy.
It's ridiculous.
And we just see a bunch of stuff from episode 8. Yep. Like that little like baby and that little snot thing that we saw Bob in.
Yeah,
we saw Bob in there.
Like the egg or whatever it is.
Yeah, there's the Got a Light guy. And then you see the bunch of the ghost hobos at the gas station.
And we see some stuff with like Laura Palmer, and like you see an image of her face, some of that stuff.
And then you see the two Coopers.
Yes, that's important.
It's Double Cooper and Normal Cooper, and the image is like shaky and they're like overlapping each other. Then it eventually splits apart to see the two different Coopers.
And there's also an image of like Andy and Lucy.
Yeah, there's a thing with Andy and Lucy. It was just kind of weird.
Strange, but the big thing is the Coopers.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the last thing he sees is an actual image of the woman in the woods, like right before he poofed away, and then he poofs right back.
Yeah.
And so now they kind of all reappear in a strange sort of way by the original tree before they had walked out the 30 paces or whatever it was. And Andy pops up holding the woman, and he's like, we have to get her to safety and take her to a cell. There are people who want her dead, and she's very important. And they're all like, okay.
It's like the most serious and like normal that we've ever seen Andy act.
And it's insane.
Yeah.
Because Andy is like the most innocent character in all of Twin Peaks. He's the slapstick, you know, comedic
He's the guy who steps on a board and the board flies up and hits him in the face.
Now Andy is the key to everything.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I was so excited when I saw that. Like, go to wherever it is.
And of course, in typical Twin Peaks fashion, everybody has a very like calm reaction to stuff.
Everyone is very just like, okay, that just happened.
That's weird. That's strange.
They acknowledge that it's strange, but don't really react to it.
Not like a normal person would be freaking out at a vortex coming down from the sky.
Because like Truman goes to Hawk, he's like, what just happened? He's like, I don't know. Something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another ridiculous scene. So then we go to the jail cells, which is where they're taking the No Eyes lady, and Lucy's putting her in like a bathrobe, and they put her in the cell, and Chad is just like, fuck you, Andy, blah, blah, blah.
You're a terrible cop.
You suck. And Andy's like, you're a terrible cop. And Andy storms off, and that's that. But not before we see a man bleeding from the nose and mouth in another cell, repeating everything everybody else says.
Yeah.
And Chad is like really fed up with it. He's like, hey, shut up.
And the blind lady is like making this weird noise. She's kind of going like,
Yeah, it's like a weird kind of whimper. So the bleeding from the mouth guy starts kind of imitating it, because he's imitating everything everybody does.
Yeah.
And Chad's like, shut up. And we have this sort of back and forth, literal just a back and forth of them saying the same thing to each other.
Yeah, just like, shut up.
Nut house. And that's the scene.
Yeah, that's the scene.
It's
weird. I don't know who that guy is, like what that guy's doing there.
Yeah, and we sort of maybe get more on him at the end of the episode.
Maybe.
I can only assume that's him.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
We cut to the Great Northern Hotel, just establishing shot. I'm like, okay, you're gonna get another scene with Ben Horn in his office doing something. Mm-hmm. And then we cut to 2 security guards instead, just sitting outside.
And I kind of squint and I'm like, oh, it's kind of hard to see, but I think that's James?
Yeah, and it's James and this one other guy. They're just sitting there.
And the other guy, who, to be specific, is like a Cockney British fellow with a rubber glove on his right hand who's crushing walnuts with his fingers.
Yeah.
And we're just like, okay, that's
weird.
And James kind of inquires, he's like, so why don't you take that thing off? He's like, well, it's part of me.
I can't
take it off. It's
one time we tried and my arm started bleeding.
Yeah, so
we're like, what?
James is like, well, tell me where you got it. And he's like, I can't tell you. Well, it's my birthday. Tell me.
He's like, okay.
Oh, okay. And so he goes and tells this whole elaborate story of how he was out at a bar with his friends, and he leaves the bar and he's in, I don't know, an alley or on the street or something, and he sees a vortex, which I can only assume is one of these vortexes that all the other guys have been seeing, and he gets sucked up into the same room that Andy was in with the giant.
He goes, and I saw this guy who called himself a fireman.
And he basically tells him, go to this store. There will be a package of gloves, but only one glove will be in it. And buy it, put that glove on, and you will have the strength of something.
Yeah.
And so he does that.
And he tells a whole crazy story about how he went to the store. They wouldn't sell him just the one glove because it was out of the package. It's one glove. And they got into a fight with the one guy after putting on the glove.
It's a really fun sort of story.
It is. It's really entertaining.
He tells it really well.
Yeah. James this whole time is just like, what?
What?
Okay.
and he also gets told by the fireman to, after he does that, fly to Twin Peaks. And
the guy, when he goes to the airport to buy a ticket, he finds out he already has a ticket.
Somehow.
Yeah, so I guess this was his destiny. That's what the fireman says. And that's why he's here in Twin Peaks.
Yes. There with James.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
But like when he mentioned he saw a vortex, he met the fireman, we were both just like, what?
This is crazy.
It's all connecting. It's insane.
And so we also get a little more James in the scene.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say, in the few scenes that we've had with James, we had him singing, which was honestly just Peter Lynch trolling everyone.
Yeah.
But he's a better performer than he used to be. He's not bad.
He doesn't have those blank stares.
He's not a plank of wood.
No.
Yeah, he actually smiles in the scene. Yeah. He can talk to this guy.
Yeah. Of course, in the season where he's barely in it, his acting gets better. But then they're waiting outside for a package, but they also have to check on the furnace.
Yes.
So James says, hey, just, wait here for the package. I'll go check on the furnace. And you get this scene of him just walking in like the basement area of the hotel, like trying to check on the furnace, and he hears that ringing sound that Ben Horn was hearing in his office.
Yeah, and we still don't know what it is.
No, but he hears it too, and it's it's somewhere in there. We don't know what it is, and that's the stuff with James. So really interesting. Not what I expected.
No, not at all. So
I
now
guess
we know that James has a job. He doesn't just sing at the
But didn't in the season 2 he left for California and never came back? I guess that didn't work out for him.
Nah, never happened.
Nah.
And then we get to a scene, oh my god, where we see someone walking towards another bar, not the Bang Bar, just another sort of CD trucker bar, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's Sarah Palmer. And so she, right off the bat, I knew it was Sarah Palmer because I'm like, oh, she's a drunk. She's going to the bar.
Yeah.
So she goes in there. She's like, Bloody Mary, damn it. And she gets a Bloody Mary, and there's this creep down the bar who kind of walks up to her, and he just says some just nasty shit to her.
Well, at first he's kind of trying to hit on her.
He's like, hey, baby, come here often.
Yeah,
that sort of
kind
stuff. He doesn't specifically say that. But and she's like, please go back to your seat. And he's like, that's not very polite. It wasn't meant to be. Leave. And
she's a badass.
Oh, she's great. I love her. And one of the best images in the whole episode happens when basically this guy takes it a little too far with the stuff that he's saying.
Yeah, and he refuses to leave her side and everything.
She turns to face him, removes her face, like a hand and some lips in this gray. There's this gray sort of void past her head, and then she puts her face back on. The dude's like, and then she bites his neck off.
Yeah.
Like, she just... It was... What? It was amazing. She bites him. You have this awesome prosthetic of like just blood oozing out. It was great. She's like total badass mode, bites this guy in the neck, and then immediately, oh my god! Ah! Yeah. And everybody else is like, oh my god, what happened? She's like, I don't know, he just fell. And the bartender goes, with a chunk of his neck missing? Or... Yeah, how did that happen? I don't know how it happened.
And she just gives him this stare like she knows that he knows something's up. And she goes, well, it's a mystery, and just like walks.
Do you want to lose a chunk of your neck too, buddy?
Yeah, basically like that.
So now we know there's definitely something really weird with Mrs. Palmer. Because we already knew something was weird with her, but that's like, it just turned it up to 11.
That's insane.
It was... craziness.
Yeah, like, what is that? What's going on?
Oh.
And then we cut to the Bang Bang Bar, and we see two new characters just sitting at a booth talking to each other.
And immediately he goes, oh.
Yeah.
Because he's thinking, oh god, it's going to be another two pointless characters, and we're going to end this episode on a sour note with these characters that doesn't tie in.
No, and it started out like that a little bit, because he's like, oh, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I've just been in my room getting high, and
drugs,
and
Twin Peaks.
And I'm just like, no, don't, you're doing so good. But then they go, have you seen Billy lately? And I'm like, oh, okay, okay. And she talked about, no, he's been gone for like the past few days. But I did see him right before he left. He was like running across our backyard.
He jumped a 6-foot fence. Yeah. It banged on our door and like comes into the house, and she's like, he was bleeding from the mouth. Yes. And then
his nose.
And then leaves.
Yeah.
Doesn't say anything.
And we're thinking bloody face, nose and mouth.
Is that the guy in the jail cell? Who else could it be? I mean, I feel like if they mention that he's bleeding from the mouth, that's got to be him. And
when he was in the jail cell, they showed him sitting there and the blood dripping down, and they panned down just to see the blood dripping on the floor. And how like that was significant.
So
that's probably him.
That's the guy.
That's probably Billy, yeah. And then she mentions how she's like, there was something going on between him and her mom. Mm-hmm. Like, because you could tell by the way she was looking at him that, you know, something had been going on between them. And one of the ways like, no way. And she's like, what's your mom's name? And we're like, Audrey? Maybe? And then she goes, Tina. We're like, oh, that's the character that... Okay. Now it's starting to work now. Like, the Audrey stuff is starting to work now. It's making sense.
Yeah. So they're actually doing stuff with that.
Yeah.
Not going to mind it so much now when they go back to Audrey and kind of expand on it.
Yeah.
Because we sort of understand who these people are now.
Yeah. I was so happy because that scene started out like, oh no, here we go. And then it ended up great. Like, every scene in this episode moved the plot forward. Yeah. And it was amazing.
It was really just... I could not look away from the screen the entire time. There's not a single scene where I was like even moderately bored.
No, not at all.
It's so good. If any of the episodes are even like half as full of stuff as this episode is, it's going to be ridiculous.
It was a great episode. Again, probably the best of the season so far.
Yeah, I would say so. It was, again, it's hard to compare it to something like episode 8.
Yeah.
But this episode, it really feels important.
Yeah.
Everything in it actually, it just, as you're listening to it, you're like, everything's coming together now.
Yeah, like every major like plot point from the previous episodes are all like come into play here.
Yeah.
Even little stuff from the first episode, like that creature thing from the box, like everything is starting to come into play, and you see where things are starting to head and starting to go.
Because in the other episodes, you have things like, oh, they found the ring, and that says Dougie. And you're like, okay, things are creeping together. Mm-hmm. This is where they're really... Because now you actually have Gordon Cole calling up Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
There's actually these groups intersecting, and things are really coming together. And it's only going to be even more in the next few episodes.
Yeah, so, it's going to be even greater in the next few episodes.
So yeah, now that we actually have to wait a few more days...
I know!
We're really excited for episode 15.
Yeah, very excited.
And so until then, we will see you guys later.